Hello guys and welcome to another YouTube video. In today's video we're going to be talking about Arc 3.0, and this is something that is very near and dear to my heart. I originally back in D1 was a Blink Blade Dancer shotgunner pretty much through the entirety of the game, and it was one thing that I did a lot, like a lot, and I had a lot of fun doing that. And I was very saddened that that was something that we didn't really see like come in D2. Like, Blink is only on one class, and it's on Void Warlock, and that's always kind of been the trade-off. And now we're going to be having a Blink on Hunter. Spoiler alert. That's one thing that I'm very excited for. We're going to read through the patch notes, or not the patch notes, but some of the specific stuff that's going to be getting changed, and we're going to talk about I'm going to talk about what I like and what I'm excited for. I've already talked to Blink. We'll circle back to that when we get there. We're going to talk about just, thoughts and impressions on it. I can say for sure that I've read it already, and I can say that I'm actually very thoroughly excited for this. So here we go. They explain first up is a new buff, Amplified, which is key to the Arc 3.0 experience. An Amplified Guardian is faster both in terms of movement speed and in terms of their weapon handling, and more agile, able to perform long slides that can function as a devastating setup for some of the attacks that follow. Unlike other damage types, Voids, or Invisibility, or Solar's Radiant, players don't need to equip any specific aspect or fragment to become amplified. By default, all Arc subclasses become amplified after rapidly defeating targets with any Arc damage, and equipped aspects and fragments offer additional ways to become or benefit from being amplified. So we have, that's like the base thing is the amplified thing. I feel like this is inadvertently going to be a buff to the Found Verdict, which already was super good, but it's only going to be better because it is an Arc shotgun, which is good for the Found Verdict, I guess. Anyway, I'll keep reading on it. After a few seconds, an Amplified Guardian will gain another speed boost. As designer Mike Humboldt put it, basically as fast as we can put our sprint animation go, gaining a sizable PV damage resistance buff and enabling an even longer slide ability. So when they talk about this slide stuff, this like really reminds me a lot of, like, it's basically back in D1 there was something called fleet-footed, and it was what I would run, and I'm excited for that. This is reminding me a lot of like going back to the roots of what Arc was back in D1, and I'm extremely excited for it. So, and now they explain what blinding and jolt is, and these are like two of the debuffs that are coming with Arc 3.0. Blinding affects opponents. We'll talk about what it does in PvE. In PvP, blinded opponents will have their screen whited out and their HUD removed for a short period of time, alongside with a ringing audio effect, simulating the ringing in the ears after a flashbang explodes. Jolted opponents who are damaged will periodically send slivers of chain lightning out to nearby enemies, damaging them in the process. And I'm gonna read this one. Arc 3.0 also has democratized ionic trances, which were previously available only to middle tree warlocks, now available to all three. Traces are objects that when collected will add energy for all your abilities. So I'm confused by that, if they're saying that literally every class has that. That's what it sounds like, which is very interesting to me. There's a lot of stuff, like a lot of good things about Arc, and I'm not so sure that Void will be better than Arc at this point, because it seems like they're going pretty hard with buffing it, which really is not a bad thing. So anyway, to continue, we talk about Hunter and the Hunter dodge and everything, and they talk about the supers. So one thing a lot of people were not expecting is Hunter is actually getting a new themed super. We're getting the old Arc staff, which is you're able to block and deflect, and then you also have the damage resistance, which is basically middle tree and bottom tree combined. And then there is the new Hunter super, which is what the Hunter does is the Hunter leaps into the air, hurling their staff into the ground or into an unlucky enemy like a spear. Upon impact, the staff emits a damaging burst that jolts nearby enemies. Soon after, a giant bolt of lightning strikes the staff and overcharges it, creating a large damage zone around it for several seconds. While overcharged, the staff sends out arcs of lightning to damage any enemies that that move near it. That sounds very, like, reading that, I don't understand. I need to see that, because I don't get that. It sounds so weird. Anyway, onto the melee. We have the combination blow, and then the disorienting blow, and I believe disorienting blow actually has a little bit of a buff, blinding effects with a devastating palm attack, while also now amplifying the hunter along the way. So now it's the same. I think the melee animation is going to be different, disorienting blow, but I think you're also going to be amplified now. So you're going to get what is the mobility and handling increase, which is just going to make that even better, which that melee was already really annoying to deal with. And now we are on to the aspects. Defeating a jolted opponent causes you to become amplified. When amplified, the hunter's dodge will recharge faster and make you more damage or more resistant to damage. I don't know about that. I read that. And I did not realize the damage resistance. That, God, man, why? Anyway, then we have Tempest Strike. Allows the hunter to perform a sliding melee that launches an arc wave along the ground, dealing significant damage and jolting enemies in its path. And then we have Lethal Current. After dodging, the hunter's melee range is increased, and their next melee attack jolts the target, creates a damaging lightning aftershock. When used, the hunter arc staff super after dodging, the hunter's new staff light attack hits twice. Hits twice. What does that mean? That's interesting. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means like it does double damage, or I don't know what that means. Hitting a jolted enemy with a melee attack will blind them. So I think the meta for this is definitely going to be Flow State and Tempest Strike. Most likely. Lethal Current doesn't seem like it. I don't know. I could see Lethal Current being good. It's just, I feel like it has less utility than Flow State and Tempest. But anyway, they also say that, you know, the blink movement will be coming. Blink movement mode for Arc Hunters will be returning, basically. Which is super exciting, once again, especially for me personally, because I did used to, a lot of people used to main Arc Blade Dancer back in D1. In the first year it was very popular, but after that it got nerfed into the ground, and it was not really something you see in anyone run. I feel like a lot of people just played like Night Stalker usually, but for a certain period of time, I think Blade Dancer became more popular towards the end of Destiny's lifespan, but I don't know. Anyway, onto the Warlock. We have talk of what the supers are. Chaos Reach is the same, and Storm Trance is a little bit different. It combines landfall and ionic blink. So you have the super combines both the landfall behavior with previous bottom tree arc, creating a damaging shockwave underneath the player, and the ionic blink behavior from old top tree arc, allowing the player. Okay, so it's basically I'm more curious about the shockwave and what that's exactly going to mean, because that could make it very, very hard to kill them, like to shotgun storm warlocks. I don't know. It'd make it extremely hard. I don't know. I guess you'll probably just have to snipe it, but shotgunning it does not seem like it is going to be an option, fortunately. And then onto the melees, we have the ball of lightning that you have on middle tree right now, and then I believe chain lightning is on, what's that, top or bottom? I don't know, whatever one chains or is ionic blink, that is the one that is that way. Chain lightning will send out, basically what it does is when you melee one person, and if his teammates are in close proximity, it will chain the lightning, I believe, between the players, kind of like how the chain operates just if players are, you know, standing in the grenade right now with arc web. And then for the aspects, we have Arc Souls, which is great. I love that one. That one's very good for, especially when you're doing carries, because if your carries aren't able to really put damage in, having Arc Souls is good to have across the team, because honestly, there's times where Arc Souls will clean up kills, and there's times where the Arc Souls will do more damage than actual players can deal. So happy that is returning. Then we have the Lightning Surge. The Warlock activates their melee while sliding to transform into a ball of lightning and teleport forward, falling down a field of lightning bolts at the exit point that jolts targets. I'm very curious to see how all of this plays out and what all of this looks like, because it's I feel like that's like probably like Bacchus almost. That to me that sounds like Bacchus. The Warlock activates their melee while sliding to transform into a ball of lightning. That like sounds like it's basically Bacchus. But at the end of the Bacchus, instead of, or like, you know, I don't know, it's like kind of, because with Bacchus, if you dodge, I guess it doesn't slow you, but I don't know, it seems very reminiscent of like the dodge with Bacchus to me. And then we have Electrostatic Mine. Arc abilities and kills on arc debuffed enemies creates ionic transit, or traces rather. When you collect the ionic trace, you become more amplified. I think earlier I called it I don't know why. I'm very tired, so once again, I've mentioned it once in the video. But if I like misspeak or seem kind of like slow in my reading, it is because I am exhausted. I will try my best though. I will forge ahead. And now we are moving on to Arc Titan. The desire to punch. Okay, so just a brief cap of what we're getting into here. The Fist of Havoc and Thunder Crash are returning. Fist of Havoc now has adjusted slam radiuses that's halfway between top and bottom, and the ground slam leaves a damaging field in its wake, while slamming from the air the air causes damaging AoE effect from the previous top tree behavior. Okay. And then Thunder Crash. The first time I read this, I was kind of confused, so I'm going to read it again. In the case of Thunder Crash and other abilities, uncoupling its subclass abilities from the old subclass Diamond system will result in some substantial buffs, depending on how players use it. That's one of the intrinsic advantages that the new subclass 3.0 system brings to Destiny. When you start pairing them with different things, even though nothing changed about the actual ability, they can end up being significantly stronger as a result, because now they aren't locked into a canned set of perks that surround them. Thunder Crash is a great example of that. I think what he's saying is Thunder, maybe not the super in particular, but the Thunder Crash class will be like, not being tied to using the subclass of Thunder Crash and being able to customize your subclass more is going to make Thunder Crash better as a result, because you'll be able to kind of mess with the neutral game, whereas currently with Thunder Crash you're tied to a certain neutral game if you want to use Thunder Crash. So anyway, on to this new ability, the Thruster class ability. By double tapping a button, the Titan bursts in their throttle direction at speed, performing a quick first-person evade comparable in distance to a hunter dodge. Arc is the damage type that is about mobility, so we're going to add a mobility boost anywhere. For Titans, it was going to. So basically, to me, it seems like we're pretty much getting like, it's basically like an Icarus dash. Probably not as effective as Icarus dash in terms of how far you go, but it seems, I mean, they mention a hunter dodge. Maybe it will be more like a hunter dodge because that's what they say. The thing with hunter dodge is hunter dodge doesn't have as much momentum. It's like if you hunter dodge, you don't like carry a bunch of momentum going in another direction. So maybe that's what they mean, is like it's not going to be something. Whereas like, I don't know if I'm making sense, but whereas like if you Icarus dash, you can kind of like zoom like a motherfucker, but with hunter dodge, definitely not the case. So that might be why they refer to it that way. The melee attacks, they have the Seismic Strike, which blinds enemies, and if you're amplified, it will increase the radius and the blinding effect will last longer. And then Ballistic Slam pretty much seems like it's literally the same. And then let's see, and then we have the Thunderclap. I'm interested to see what this is exactly and like how stuff works or like looks in game, because the way they explain it seems really cool, but I'm very interested to see how it all works in game and what it looks like visually. So for the aspects, we have Touch of Thunder, which improves all the grenades pretty substantially. Flashbangs fire an additional blind impulse on its first bounce. Pulse, when the grenade damages an enemy, it creates an ionic trace for the Titan. Pulse grenade damage increases over time as the grenade lingers after impact. I think I remember that being a thing. I think one of the classes does have improved grenades right now. So all of this is very scary, man. It's real scary stuff, real spooky. I think for me, I'll say it after actually, but continue reading the grenades. Grants an additional charge for lightning grenade and jolts targets on initial blast. I feel like lightnings seem the most underwhelming out of all of these, to be honest. Well, there's still storm grenades. I noticed, okay, yeah, flux grenades don't get any increase. That's interesting. Storm grenades creates a roaming thundercloud that moves and tracks enemies, similar to the Stasis Hunter's Silence and Squall super, firing lightning bolts at the ground underneath it. While sprinting with... Oh, and then we're reading the Juggernaut. Well, this is basically what it was in D1. For people that didn't play D1, there was an ability called Juggernaut, I believe, and it was pretty similar to this. It wasn't tied to a class ability, but it is in Destiny 2 now. While sprinting with full class ability energy, the Titan grants a frontal shield that blocks incoming damage. When amplified, the shield is stronger. Once the shield is depleted by taking damage, the player's class of energy is depleted. I already seen something on Twitter from like Frostbolt. Let me see what he said. It was something about like how he's gonna pair like Antaeus wards, the frontal shield. It's gonna be real goofy. It's definitely gonna be a lot of things you can combine to kind of block damage. And this is gonna be one of them. You can like Juggernaut into an Antaeus ward. That's gonna be like uncounterable. Oh my god. And the thing is if you're a 10 Rezo Titan, you get your shield like super quick. God, that's gonna be really moldy. That's actually gonna be extremely moldy. Because you're basically you're gonna have to wait for 2 shields to go down before you can even damage a guy. And if they're like aping you with like a fusion or even just a normal pellet shotgun, you're probably gonna die. I'd be very surprised if we didn't. And then we also have Knockout returning, the GOAT. Melee kills trigger health regeneration, make the Titan amplified. Critically wounding an enemy or breaking their shield increases melee range and damage for a brief period of time. Titan's base melee becomes arc empowered while Knockout is active. And with that, I think that makes everything for Arc 3.0. They mentioned some fragments. I'm not really going to get into those because it's only 4 of them. But honestly, right out the gate, I said it on Twitter, I think this is going to be very hot. I think there's a lot of things that are probably going to need nerfing, but I'm excited. I'm thinking that this will definitely shake up the meta, which is what I want. So going to be a lot of epic build crafting occurring next season for sure. Let me know what you guys enjoyed, what you guys are most looking forward to. For me, it's Blink. I'm definitely going to be playing Blink Hunter. Like that's going to be something that I play for sure. One thing that is good about Blink Hunter too is it's going to kind of, I don't know, I'm not going to really have a need for Stompies. And honestly, I don't know what I'm going to run. Like, what exotic I should run. I'm going to make a build for that, though. I'm going to definitely make a build for that. And I'm excited to do that. That's something, like, I'm looking forward to, is getting a build out for that as quickly as possible next season. And I'm going to try to see if I can even really figure out a Hunter exotic to run for Arc 3.0 next season. We'll see. Anyway, I'm very excited for this. If I had to put my level of excitement from a 1 to 10 region, I would probably put it at an 8 or 9. Mind you, this isn't like a super big expansion that we're getting. This is just like a seasonal thing. But still, I mean, we are going to be seeing Lightfall on the 23rd when the new season does release, or a Lightfall reveal or something. But we are in desperate need of new stuff. One thing that is worth noting as well is although we did get all these changes, there's a lot of like behind the scenes balancing that we haven't really been told about. So like, although grenades are getting buffed, like these arc grenades and stuff with the Titan here, I guarantee you that some of these grenades might be adjusted in terms of the damage they do, and just in some ways. So I would definitely be prepared for that. Otherwise, I feel like everything's pretty self-explanatory. I'm hoping that's the case. I'd be very surprised if because lightning grenades are really good right now. I don't know. I think there's going to be some minor adjustments. Like, they're not talking about everything, like exactly about how much damage it's going to do and all that stuff. I assume some of it will be pretty similar, but I'm expecting there to be little nuances, kind of like with Solar 3.0, where it's like you still deal the same amount of burn damage, but you're not able to kill someone with said burn damage. Like, the burn damage will only leave someone one shot, and it won't actually finish them off. Anyway, once again, if you guys enjoyed the video, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell below for notifications. I upload new videos every day at 1 p.m. EST and stream every day on Twitch. Also, if you want to keep up to date with what's happening with me and everything with my content, please make sure to go check out my Twitter. And I am also doing an emblem giveaway that literally is going to be pulled, actually, as... Well, I'll pull it at midnight, or maybe not at midnight. I'll pull it at 11 p.m. EST on the 18th, 11 p.m. And then I'll give you guys some time from this video to go check it out. So, but I'm doing an emblem giveaway for Heritage Eternal. My ad on Twitter is Diffizzle, so TOODIFFIZZLE on Twitter at Diffizzle. We do an emblem giveaway. It is my pinned tweet. We're almost to like 1,000 likes on that. So if you are interested, make sure to follow me on Twitter, like and retweet that tweet, and tag a friend. And with that, we'll make the video. Once again, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.